Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Terry and this is the Yarn Joy podcast, episode number 24. Today I have some finished objects and some works in progress, and I have some tips that I want to, well, not tips, but something that I found that I thought might be helpful for other people. So let's get started. Okay, so for my finished objects for this week, I have 3. Last week I was showing you that I was making the bunny in the hoodie amigurumi, and I finished him or her, I don't know. Anyway, here he is. She. Turned out really cute. He even has, I guess I'll say he, I keep saying he, but he has a little cottontail there in the back. And real easy to put together, not bad at all. Really enjoyed making him. I used Caron Simply Soft. I like the way that the yarn had a little shine to it, so I thought it set off the pattern really well. And this pattern is from howtoamigurumi.com, and there is a link from Ravelry to get to the site, and I will leave a link in the description box below. Okay, so that is one finished object. My next finished object is just this tiny little thing I whipped up. I thought it was really cute, and it is a Yoda ornament or keychain or whatever you want to do with him, I guess. Let's see, can you see him? Okay, so this is another thing, another pattern that I found on Ravelry, and it is a pattern by Andy Collins, and I believe it's called Star Wars themed ornaments, I believe. And there's also a pattern for the Death Star and a Stormtrooper, but I thought the Yoda was extra cute, so I whipped him up really cute, really fast. And the stuffing, I was able to use just some scrap snips, you know, from my things that I've snipped off when I weave in my ends. So that's what I used to stuff him with. Okay, so there's that. And then my third final object for the week is some more of the 365 Day of Granny Square projects. I did numbers 36 to 40, and then I skipped and I went 46 and 47. Okay, so I'll let you know when I'll show you these, and I'll tell you why I skipped the other 4 or whatever it is. So anyway, this is number 36 right there, and number 37, number 38 right there, and number 39 right there, number 40. Now this one, I don't know if you can tell, but these little mesh stitches right here, they are actually, you have to look really close, I think, to see them, but it is a heart right in there. Okay, and see, so this one is number 40, and so 39 also had a heart. And so in her group of patterns, or whatever, not patterns, her squares, I guess. Anyway, so from 40 to 45, they all have hearts on them, and it's because she started this in January of 2016, yes, and by the time she got to the 40s in her count of squares, it was close to Valentine's Day, and so she did 40 to 45, I believe, and they all have hearts. And since I'm doing well, I'm doing the squares in order, but I wanted my patterns and things to be random, and so I didn't really want 5 heart squares in a row. So I did this one, which is number 39, and then I did this one, which is because you really can't tell. I mean, you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see it, but if you go to her site, you can get a better look at the pattern, and there are little hearts in there, but you really can't tell. They're not that noticeable? Yeah. So I got those, and then I thought, okay, well, I don't want the next few to be hearts as well, and so I skipped to number 46, which is this one, and this is a very interesting square. It is got the, you see it? The bullion stitch on this row and this row. And I had never done the bullion stitch before. And at first when I was doing it, I didn't know for sure if I really enjoyed it or not, because with this one you have to yarn over like 8 loops around the hook as you prepare to do the stitch. And it's kind of fiddly getting all those loops off when you're pulling it through. But really you kind of get the hang of it, and then it's not bad. So I really like the texture of the square after you do all of those. So that one is number 46. And then number 47, I think I've got this right. Yes. Number 47 is this one, which is a very open stitched square. Right there. Okay. And that's the squares I did this week. Okay, and that is the finished objects I have also. So this transitions us into the works in progress section. Okay, so as you know, I have been putting these squares together using a join as you go method, bordering each of the squares in black. And so last week I put on last week's squares. I was able to add them all onto the blanket. And this blanket is 7 squares, well, it was 7 squares by 5, right? 7 by 5, yes, that'd be 35. And so I put those together, and let me show you, I've got all those attached. Let's see, make sure it's the right side here. Okay. So, there's the blanket. So that's the long ways, but when you look at the other direction, the 5, it's this way. And when I laid it out, I just felt like it was too much of a rectangle. I mean, it was pretty narrow as far as it being a good size to be a child's blanket or lap gown or something. So I've just decided, and at first I thought, oh, well, I'll just put a granny stitch border or something around like the whole entire thing to try to make it wider, and I'd try to do this, and I was thinking about different things that I could do, because I really wanted to change my color combinations, I guess you'd say, or the colors I picked out. I really wanted to pick out new colors and start a new project, not a project, but a new set for another blanket. But then I thought, no, I'm just going to go ahead, just because I still had yarn of these colors left. And so I just decided I'm just going to go ahead and make another row worth of squares, which was the 7, which was these that I just showed you. And so I'm going to add those on there. And so it'll end up being 7 squares by 6 squares, which is 42 squares. And then I'm going to call this blanket done. With this, it's a flat braid, join as you go method, and it really finishes, I don't know if you can tell, but it really finishes the edges off really well. And so I think that this is going to be fine. I don't even think I need to add another edging or anything to it. I think it's going to look fine. So this week I will be adding, this coming week, I will be adding this last row of squares, and then this will be done. And so next week it will be a finished object. So there's that. Okay, and then my second works in progress is, as you know, I am participating in a baby blanket drive for a charity group that I belong to, Aubrey's Angels Charity Crochet Group, I believe. It's on Facebook. And it's a local charity to me, though, in my city here. And so we're doing a baby blanket drive. And so I've been working on this baby blanket. I'm using Bernat Softy Baby yarn. And it is a octagon, so it's an 8-sided blanket. And I'm using yellow, and then this variegated baby print there. And then there's a pink stripe. I'll back up a little bit and see. It's about that big now. Got another section done. And so I am anxiously wanting to be finished with this. I cannot speak today, sorry. But I've been anxiously wanting to get finished with it because I want to start a new baby blanket project. But I'm still plugging along on it. It's not a difficult pattern. It's just that every time you go around, of course, you're adding stitches, and so it's got more and more stitches to go around to get all the way around it each time. So it takes you longer. But it does help that you're changing color ever so often to kind of break up the boredom, I guess, the monotony or whatever, I suppose. I don't know. It's a good pattern. It's a good take-along pattern because you get the pattern memorized, and then you can really take it anywhere, and you don't need to look up the pattern really to find out what comes next. And so I've been taking this when I take my son to his music lessons, and I'll just sit there and get some crocheting done while I'm waiting for him. So there's that. Oh, and it is from the woolcrafting.com yes, website. I'll put links to all these patterns below, as I was telling you before. Okay, so my next finished object is another shawl, well, a shawl that I'm working on. I started it, I think I showed it to you for the first time last week, and it is the, I'm sure I won't be pronouncing it right, but it's called the Erigenia shawl, I suppose. I'm not sure, but it's by Silky Terhorst. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. There's a picture of it. And the yarn that I'm using is the Lion Brand Mandala or Mandala, however you say it, in the colorway Spirit. There's the yarn. And it is a number 3 yarn, and I'm using a 5mm hook, which I believe is an H hook. And here's what I've got so far. It started out with this pretty dull looking charcoal color, and at first I was kind of wondering what it was going to look like, but as you can see, I am now getting to this really pretty blue at the bottom. Let's see if you can see it. And so it's really getting a lot more enjoyable to do, and I'm anxious to see what it's going to look like when it's all finished. As you can see, it's got this mesh shell type stitch right there, and then you have a more solid section here, this stripe. And so then I did another one, like I don't know if you can tell, but there's a repeat right there, and then now I'm doing this solid stitch again. And then I have one more repeat of this mesh pattern with the double crochet solid piece down there at the bottom, and then I get to do this really pretty border. So I'm enjoying this. I really am. I'm using a graph that I printed out, kind of following that for my pattern. Plus there are written instructions as well, so I kind of go back and forth between both of them to get my pattern down. And so this is the first time I've actually used a yarn cake with the colors like this. And it's kind of fun because the colors start changing, and then you anxiously want to see what it looks like with the new color applied, so that makes you want to keep going. So I'm enjoying putting it together, making it. Okay, so that is my third works in progress. My fourth works in progress is a YouTube tutorial that I'm following, and it is actually using a knitting loom. And you can see up there on the wall right there, I have a whole set of these Nifty Knitter knitting looms, and I really haven't been a fan of using them. I've made a few hats and different things, but I guess I haven't used it enough to really enjoy doing it. I much rather crochet or knit. Well, crochet mainly. But I found this YouTube tutorial by Luma Hat. I believe that's the name of the channel, and her website is also lumahat.com. And I guess the main reason is because since the pegs are so far apart, they always recommend that you use 2 strands of worsted weight yarn, the number 4 weight, together as one to make the stitches, I guess, dense enough. But I always had trouble with my my loops are, I guess I was wrapping it too tight. Always using the E-wrap, what they call, where you wrap completely around, and you wrap them all the way around the loom before you take any of the stitches off. Well, the reason I decided to try this one is because she only uses the single strand of the number 4 worsted instead of having to do it double. And so I was thinking, well, I'm going to try that and see if see how it turns out. And so this is what they call, let's see, she calls her little project, a cupcake doll. And here's the little doll. Really cute. And so I'm anxiously wanting to put her together. I think she's really cute. I've got the body done right there. And what's interesting is if you haven't tried a knitting loom or loom knitting, after you take it off, then you really want to stretch the stitches out, and it like tightens the stitches up. And so I was really surprised that it turned out as dense as it did, because since I only used one strand, a single strand of the number 4 yarn. But anyway, so I've got the this will be the body, and with the legs, and I've got 2 arms, and I also did a little skirt, and this is with a Caron Simply Soft yarn. I didn't know for sure because it's even a smaller gauge yarn than this is Red Heart. And but anyway, so I had this. It's like shades, different shades of purple. And so this is going to be the skirt. And so I think my next step now is to start stuffing it and putting it together. But originally when I saw this tutorial and watched it through, I really liked the way that she did the eyes and the nose. I don't know if you, oh, there's a glare. Anyway, I really liked the way she did that. Oh, there, sorry. And the hair, the way that she did the hair. Anyway, I'll put a link in the bottom so you can go see the tutorial and see the little doll. I think it's really cute. So that is my fourth works in progress. And that's it. That's really what I've been working on. I really wanted to get that remaining row on the 365 blanket done. And so I worked on that, and then I got those 7 squares done for the next row. And I really wanted to finish my little bunny. And I did get her finished. So now for upcoming though, now that I know that I'm completely done with this blanket, I mean, as far as I'll have to attach, of course, the bottom row on it, but I don't have to make any more squares in those colors. So I've already gone through my stash and I've picked out my colors for my next, because see, let's see, I ended up with number 40. And then I went to 46. So I will go back and do 41 to 45, those heart squares I was telling you about, but I'm gonna kind of randomly space them around so I don't have hearts all next to each other. And then I will pick up number 48 and go on from there. So anyway, I picked out some more yarn, and these are the colors I'm going to use next. This is just out of my stash. Red Heart Super Saver. This is the gold, and this is the tea leaf Red Heart, and then I've got this purple, which is I think it's called medium purple or something. I can't remember. This is the Cafe Latte, the brown. And then this right here, this is my famous orange yarn that I still have a lot of, and so I'm gonna keep sticking that in my projects until I get it done, finished with. And then this actually is I don't know if it's turning out the right color, but it is a blue, and this was a big skein of a Caron 1-pounder actually, and I don't remember the name. I don't have the ball band anymore. It's some sort of a blue. And then this red right here is called Claret. Yeah. And it is a Michaels Impeccable, I believe, yarn. And so these are the colors right here. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 7. And I did 7 I had picked out 7 of the previous, those colors, and it seemed like that worked well. 7 is a good number because you can kind of alternate the combinations of the colors. And so this one up here, because I was thinking, well, this other one, I bordered it in black, and so I was thinking, what would be a good color to unite all of these together? And so I had a white, and I put it up, and it just seemed like it was too bright for these colors, because they're all kind of a medium tone color. And so I decided to try a cream color. So this is a cream color. I believe this is actually a Caron Baby Soft. I don't know. It's another one of those pounders, but it's not called a 1 pounder. It's the baby version of it. Something of Love, right? I can't remember now, but anyway, I'll have to pick up some more because this is all I've got of this. It's called Baby, but it's a 4. It is a number 4 yarn, so I think the weight of it will be fine alongside these other, because they're all number 4 weight yarns. So that's really all I have today, except for I have 2 reference guides that I printed out that I wanted to share with you. I thought it might be something that somebody may want to look into. I thought it was kind of good information. I subscribe to Creative Grandma here on YouTube, and she had in this morning's video, yes, it was this morning's video, she had these, it was a video that was directing you to her website, and she had these two charts, I guess you could say, that you could print out. And the first one is yarn weight with recommended hook size conversion chart. And of course I've seen charts like these before, but I really like the way she has it laid out. And she has, if you can see, she has the US terms here, and that is all the different types of yarn with the numbers here, how we in the US are used to seeing them. But then she's got the UK terms here, and so when any of my UK friends here on YouTube are talking about that they used an 8-ply yarn, well, I can look here and see that the 8-ply is what they call a DK, but for us it is either called a light DK or a light worsted, and even a number 3 for the weight. And then, like what they say, Aran, which is a 10-ply, it is equivalent to our medium worsted weight or number 4 weight yarn. So I thought that was really interesting. And she also has a column here, which is the recommended hook size for those yarns, for the different weight, I guess, of yarn that you're going to use in the US terms, but also the UK hook size here, which is the millimeters, which I think is really a good thing to know, because I have some hooks, some of my hooks have the letters, which is what the Americans, US terms use, or some of them will have the US term, which would be a letter, but then they would also have on the same hook, they would also have the millimeter equivalent to those, to that size, I guess you'd say. But then I have another set that's only got the millimeters on there. It does not have the letters, like an H hook or whatever. It'll just say, I think an H hook is 4 millimeter. A few of them I'm remembering what they are, but anyway, this is kind of a little cheat sheet here. So I printed that out, and I'm gonna put it in a notebook that I have with sheet protectors. Okay, so the next one she has is got several pages to it, which is I think is great, and it is this one is called Basic Sizes Chart for Afghans. Basic chart, how many motifs or squares does it take to make an Afghan? So she has the size of the blanket down this way, and she's got from preemie all the way down to king size bed size. So it's the columns just continue on to the next pages. So she has that, and then she has the inches, what that turns out to be, the actual inches width and length of that size, okay? And then she had, and she also has it in centimeters. So she has it in inches and she has it in centimeters. And then the other columns, the rest of the columns is, depending on what, if you're making a blanket and you want to make it a certain size, using a certain size square, like the one I'm just finishing up, those ended up being about a 5 to 5.5 inch square. And so, she has, now she doesn't have the 5 inch squares, but she has 2 inch square, 3, 4, and then I think she skips to 6, 8, 10, and 12 inch squares, I believe. I printed them all out here. Yes, 6, 8, 10, and 12 inch squares. And so if you're going to make, say you're going to make you want to make a, for like a twin size bed, okay? And you're using 8 inch squares, then she said that, I mean, it's approximate, you know, because it depends on your gauge, tension, and stuff like that. But she said for 8 by 8 inch square, you would use 6 across and 10 rows down for a twin size bed. And then she also has, of course, 8 by 8 inch square would be a 20 by 20 centimeters. So I thought that these charts were really good. So, of course, the way I did mine is I just, as I put them together, then I laid it out and measured it, and okay, well, I wanted to make, you know, I want it to be at least 40 inches or whatever it was, and then kind of went by there. So I just thought this chart might be something nice to print out and refer to when you want to make a certain size blanket. So anyway, so that's my tip for the day. Not tips, but I just wanted to pass the information on to whoever may be interested in printing that out for themselves. So I will put links to all these patterns and to these reference sheets, everything. I'll put them down in the description box. And thank you so much for my subscribers. I think I'm almost at 180 subscribers. I'm getting really close. It's going up a few subscribers just every few days. I'll get some more, and so that's really fun. I'm anxious to see when it says I'm in the 200s. I just can't believe that people would want to watch my videos and see what I'm doing. But I'm having a lot of fun making them. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I make weekly videos, and I show progress on things that I'm making, and you get to see from my beginning of my project to the end. And I try to make a variety of different things, hoping to appeal to somebody. I just enjoy sharing my my love for this hobby, and so please subscribe if you haven't. I'm always looking to make new friends. So that's about it. We're having a little bit cooler weather here in Texas. It's really nice, enjoying that, and getting ready for here in the United States. Of course, we have our holiday of Thanksgiving coming up, getting ready for that, and that's about it. So we have one more week of school, and then we take a week off, because for us that's our Thanksgiving week. It's also my birthday week, so I always take off from school that week. So looking forward to that. So I guess that's all, and I will see you next week. Come back, please come back and see how what I finish up and what other projects I get started. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.